It's me, name's Sony. Welcome back to another VR video. Today we are back in Project TX. And you can see that you're in a recognizable place from before, but it's actually not what you think. Although there is a small change that I've made in this area, which we can test with this here box. And it's just a quick test thing, really. It's not a finished thing, but the first thing we want to do, let's just switch over to a character model so that we can run around this area a little bit faster. But before we do that, let me just test this. We've got breakable objects now. Not perfect, of course. This is just a quick test of breakables for now. But let's swing around this place and you'll start to recognize where actually we are. So there we go. Let's have a swing around and you'll notice that in fact the ceiling is accessible. So yeah, we aren't actually outside right now. This is all fake. This is just a studio environment, as is everything in this area. But there we go, hit the wall. In fact, if you switch over to my camera, you can actually... Yeah, you're in my camera. You can see that there are pixels on the wall. So this skybox here is actually pixelated. But there we go. As you can see, we are actually inside a building. This whole thing is a big building. So let's switch back over to your camera and swing the way out. Whee! That didn't work very well. We'll put these back and just speed out of here. Does the... Yeah, it does. I was wondering there whether the guns actually scale down and stay on correctly if once I switch to ball mode. But there we go. Let's switch over to here and have a look at where we actually are. So here we go. If we switch over to my camera, you'll be able to see that we are in fact in the Destructibles exhibit, which unfortunately doesn't have any Destructibles at the moment, just tables and a random platform above. This is going to be a bit of an art gallery. An art gallery that you can smash to pieces because, you know, why not? That's what VR is all about. And you can see the giant Tiny up there as well. Maybe I'll try and make him a destructible piece as well, just for fun. But yeah, you'll notice that clock over there, firstly, of course, correct time, as you can see. And that clock over there is the same clock that you see in the background of my virtual studio for streaming, and this is actually where it first appeared, but I never showed this area yet until now. So this giant clock over here, which is literally giant, right? So there we go. We'll just hang up here, and in fact if I switch to the other camera mode you should be able to see it. So yeah, absolutely giant clock over here, and this is where it actually was designed originally. And then I added it to the little streaming setup with a small version of it in the background. But let's get through here and we'll see where we actually are. Woo! And we are now in the gravity lights area, which is full of gravity lights. So there we go. Nice gravity lights up here. And of course, if we want to mess around, we can always switch to physics, low gravity mode, and then we can actually mess around with things in low gravity. Woo! I didn't push it very well, but yeah, there we go. Very fun. But more to come with these areas. This is not what we're really looking at today. As you can see, this way through here is actually to the... Oop, better switch gravity back on. Is actually back to the projectile zone as we've seen before. And you can see the guns are still there and all of that good stuff. But we can pop over through here and over here, and we're back in the original hub room. Let's pop over here and we'll be able to see this is all my random stuff. And actually, I don't need any of this stuff. I've already got extras in the other room. So let's spin dash our way back to there. And here we are into the games room once more. So this is where all the random stuff is actually happening. There's some new fun stuff to look at. We can switch back to a nicer standard character. You can see there's actually a tiny 47 as usual. All of the customizations you see in any videos will still be in this as I test it, so you'll be seeing random stuff happening in almost every video. Better get our strength back to normal, and then we can test the random stuff we've got here. So maybe we can switch to regular camera. Actually, no, leave it, it's fine. So here we go, we've got basketballs, as you would expect. Fun, right? And then I don't know if I'll be able to do this, but oh, come on. I was this close. Oh, wonderful. Put it back into the basket automatically. So yeah, that was not intended. That was just me being highly accidentally skilled. We do have a bowling ball here as well, which is nice because we have a little bowling alley here. Let's have a go here. Let's get the camera into a nice position. You should be able to see, and let's see if we can get them down. Whoop! Oh, we've got a spare. There's 3 pins left there. Oh well, we can always just physics. Unfortunately, this thing is not so easy. I think it does affect the camera as well. Yeah, camera does not like this thing, but getting these things onto there, these hoops, damn near impossible. It just, I got close, right? But we won't bother with that. It's just too difficult. I find it too difficult. But let's just swing around over to this side, and you'll see things have really changed. We'll get some height up here, and you'll be able to see a little bit better. Very, very nice area here. We've got some nice arcade machines, which are non-functional yet, but they've got some random menus sitting on their screens. We'll get them working someday soon, and random stuff everywhere you look. So very, very nice, a sort of showcasey area here. Absolutely wonderful. We'll just walk through for now. I might actually switch to my camera, and you'll be able to see some new things. So there we go, very nice. You've got some screens over here, some arcades. We've got the balloons back as well. They're all red for some reason in this room. Maybe I should have put some red and green ones in this area. But yeah, there we go. We've got some question mark blocks, now grabbable. Very fun. And yeah, arcade machines. Unfortunately, we don't have playable machines yet, but maybe someday we'll be playing Mario Odyssey within VR, or Luigi Odyssey if you want to. And there we go, yeah. You can actually climb up here, and we'll do that in a little bit. Let's have a look over on this side. Of course, we have the Sonic the Hedgehog exhibit. There won't be any actual IP stuff, so I'll be removing these things for the actual demo. But until then, for now, I get to just show random things. So here we've got the old machine, the old Eggy Mobile, and it is, of course, the flyable one. I just placed 2 tires to simulate those spinny booster things, but they are, in fact, just 2 tires. Sneaky. Unfortunately, the springs don't work yet. I am yet to work on those. We can, of course, relax in the 2 if we want to. There we go. Nice and comfortable. We can switch the camera on and then just relax in here. Right, wonderful. We can climb the trees if I'm skilled enough. Yeah. Oh, that didn't jump very well. Yeah, they're not grabbable, but I can climb them. Oof. Oh well. Right, so there we go. Nice. We got Sonic Mania running on that TV screen there. And then, of course, if we pop over to here, we can see we have a lovely snooker table here, which is not very functional yet. Unfortunately, it's rather difficult to actually play snooker with a full physics, non-specific setup. So we can try here. Oh, very smooth. Very smooth. And, well, a perfect shot, I would say. I didn't even break the bloomin' triangle. Did the white ball even... Oh, it made it down. Nice. They most of the time kind of fall off here. Unfortunately, it's not making its way down the... There we go. Roll down. Good ball. That didn't work very well. Let's see what we have on these screens. Well, somebody's powered them up. PTX Sonic.exe. Starting application. Oh, it must be trying to run that game. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. We'll just leave it to run. Right. We do have a God here. Mr. God? He's a test NPC. We'll have a look at him in a moment. But for now, let's switch back over to this here camera. Whoop. And pop over to the YouTube studio room. Oh, actually, before we go there, you'll notice there is a portal here inside this tube. We shall check that out next time. Right, pop over to here. And in we are to my YouTube studio. And you'll recognize this place. You'll also notice there's another portal there. We're not going through that one either. You'll be able to see that one when we look out that window one day, but not this time. For now, you can have a look over here, and you'll notice we are actually in the same place that you've seen in another Project TX video. And of course, the lights still work as they did before. But if you pop over to here, you'll see that there's actually something new going on here. This podium is a really cool thing. I mentioned in the previous time that we were here, I mentioned that there was just a sort of block here, and I just placed the camera on top. But now that I have the physics camera setup sorted, I can actually place it in place. Unfortunately, there's no way yet to correctly position the camera. I haven't done an additional function. So instead, I made this little auto positioner. Right, let me show you. So we take a box and we place it on here, and then whoop, and it auto positions whatever physics object is on there, and it keeps it in place, rotated correctly as well. So what we can do is switch over to my camera, drop the camera, place the box over there. I have changed things a little bit as well. I've rotated the handles around so that they're much more useful as a sort of a first-person camera. I'll show you that in a moment. But for now, we just place the camera up here and then boink. And as you can see, oh no, not that. There we go. Keep the physics camera on, and we switch to camera mode. Ta-da! Perfect. Absolutely perfectly positioned, exactly how I want it. And then we can just also target the camera. It's brilliant, right? We'll put this hat on for now, and then we'll switch to let's see. We switch to physics, slow-mo, and then yeah, brilliant. Now you can actually see the bullets coming right at your face, and then right, but there we go. Right, very fun, very nice. Now, let's get over to the camera menu once more, and we'll drop it down. So, better switch over to this camera mode just to make sure you don't get sick. But there we go. As you can see, a nice podium. But you'll notice over there's something else. This is my other setup, my wonderful Nimsoni room. The clock has become a little bit larger on purpose, and that's just for fun. This area is not the same room that I was using in the streaming. This is just a recreation of it. That one obviously is much simpler. It's not running the entirety of Project TX in the background. That would be rather ridiculous. Now, in fact, if we switch to camera mode, the actual camera, you'll see that we are now in selfie camera mode, which is great. Hello! It's a little bit swingy when we rotate it, but it feels quite natural now that I'm sort of walking around just sort of using a selfie cam. Very, very natural. But there we go. In fact, if I place it here, we'll place it here. Try not to drop you there. Sorry about that. And then we'll press the button, and you'll see it swing around and position itself perfectly. Boink! Brilliant. Ta-da! And of course, a little bit underlit here, so there we go. Nicely lit. Wonderful. Right, so there we go. That's all brilliant. And then we can, of course, play with this box and play with the little Tubby boxes that are here. Speaking of Tubby, let's have a look at the actual reason I was making this video. Firstly, let's switch off the lights. We're losing a little bit of performance here. We'll switch back to my camera mode just for a moment there. There we go. And then, whoo, forgot to let go of the camera there. And there we go. Nice and easy. I'll switch off some lights over here as well. Good, gotta save power. Maybe we'll take the hammer. Nah, we'll leave it for now. Oh, well, actually, before we leave it... Oh, I love smacking things. Yeah, we'll leave it for now. We'll come back here in a bit. Let's go over to here and have a look at something unusual. There is something hiding in this room. Actually, there is someone hiding in this room, and we're going to say hello. Whoop. Now, let's have a look. So this here pipe. I wonder who's hiding inside the pipe. God, I feel ridiculous making these dumb little quips. Let's pop over to a different mode here, which is NPCs, right? So I have what on this menu here. I have player inputs, NPC inputs, and something called Tubby input. Let me switch off player input for now, and I'm actually moving my left stick. You can see I don't move around. Even though my room scale movement still works, my analog stick does not. I can rotate with my right analog stick, but I can't with my left. And that's because it allows me to switch on other controls, which for now is Tubby input. Let's press the button and we'll see what happens. Boing! Yay! We've got a Tubby Super Cat! And as you can see, I'm actually controlling him. In fact, it'll look a little bit better if we go over to controllers here and switch them on. Right? And then we'll switch back to Tubby mode. And there we go. I'm now controlling him. Wonderful. And he's using the regular Tubby Super Cat code, which is the new code. But unfortunately, not many functions on there yet. And pretty simple character control. But it works really, really nicely. And he interacts with pretty much everything in the game world. So one of the cool things here is I can switch on my character control. And now we can actually walk together. So there we go. Tubby, move over to here. And there we go. Now, because my controls are on the analog stick and Tubby's are on the buttons, we can actually run around together. So now I have a legitimate sidekick. Now, I'm actually doing this for a reason. This little sort of Tubby functionality is done for a reason. Let me switch off the controllers here. And then we'll get Tubby over to here. Oh boy. And yeah, so I'm actually doing this for a reason. I wanted to do some player movement functionality testing and showcase it without showing what happens in the real world, in the real world. So Tubby actually acts very much like a game character within this real world, which isn't really a real world because this is actually Project TX. As you can tell, I pretty much use Project TX as my test zone for literally everything, right? So it allows me to actually test... Oh, Tubby's moving with me. Come on, Tub. Let's pop over to here. Whoop, whoop. And then you stay there. Good boy. Right. Let's move over to here and we'll be able to test a little bit more, which is, of course, Mr. Security Guard over here. And yeah, so what I was talking about, I basically use Project TX as my sort of intermediate world, right? Where instead of me showing things in the real world to explain stuff in terms of game development, I pretty much use Project TX for that instead. And you probably have noticed this. I've done before a teaching video on how they would have improved the Sonic movie before they improved the Sonic movie, but I used VR for that, and I was complaining in that video that I didn't have physics, because I want to have physics and actually touch things and move things around, and now I do. I pretty much use Project TX for literally everything now. So let's have a go at testing some NPC logic, and then actually we'll play around with Tubby. In fact, before the NPC, let's play around with Tubby, right? So what we can do is if we switch over to my control here, and we just strengthen my hands, then we can grab these boxes over here. Wonderful. And just place them in place, and place another one on top. Perfect. Absolutely positioned exactly where I wanted it. And because Tubby uses the same control layers, the physics layers, as Project TX, Tubby can actually jump on these boxes. So, there we go. We'll move this one over to the table. Place it on the snooker table. Whoever is paying for the repairs for the snooker table, I'm not refunding them. Right, so there we go. And then we can put another box down here. And this is why we've got so many boxes here today. Just so that we can build some levels for Tubby. There we go. And then what we can do is if we move this camera over to here, in fact, you know what? Just have a look from my camera. That's always better. There we go. Hello. And now we can actually look at the menu as well. So here we go. Not player, NPCs. We can switch the player input off when we're in a good position. So let's pop over to here. And that's a pretty good position. So we can switch that off now. My analog stick doesn't move me around. And now my analog stick moves Tubby around. And he can collide with the objects in the world. There we go. Wonderful. So now we can have Tubby go over here and play with the character controller. Now, of course, the character controller for Tubby does actually use my hybrid logic system. So it's actually using the control of the VR controller to direct him. I can change that, of course. I can make it head directed where he'll move in the direction that I'm looking at, because that just makes a little bit more sense, right? So there we go. Let's get him over to here and then boing! Yay! Tubby's on top of the box and then onto there, and now you can play around with the balls. There we go, with the snooker balls. And of course, earlier on I did have his collisions on. He doesn't have collisions on. This is all just my own code, right? So I actually code Tubby to push on walls and stuff and collide with the ground, which is why I can control him, right? So you can get sort of a half jump and a full jump. It's all calculated by my own code rather than a proper physics system. And you'll notice that he just uses his run animation for pushing. This is actually the old model of Tubby. His newer model is much more neat and his feet are much more perfectly shaped. So yeah, new model of Tubby to be replacing this one very, very soon. It looks exactly the same, of course. It's just a higher quality and better shaping of Tubby Supercat. But of course, what we can do is keep player character control on as well. And then move over to here, which I mentioned. We can always do this little obstacle course. So there we go. Let's get over to here. Boink. Right, Tubby can do the jump, and then I'll do the jump. And then Tubby can go up, and I can climb up. And Tubby can go up. And we can just play with Tubby. Woo! Good boy, good jump. Now we can switch me on, and then... Hey, I made the jump. And then we can always switch back Tubby, and woo! Nice one, you made the jump. He does have a little bit of trouble making that jump, actually. So, there we go. Right, and then so on and so forth. And you know what, Tub? You can stay up there. Good boy. You just have fun up there. Right, and then what we'll do is we'll go back to the camera and switch back to that camera mode. Because here we have Mr. NPC. So here we go, a little bit of Ragdoll functionality. Now, it has been a little bit of a rough state so far, messing around with the good old Ragdoll here. And I don't have any grab points or anything like that yet. You can see he does have a shoulder though. It's not fully functional. He still has a little bit of work to go. In fact, he doesn't even like moving around very much. So if I switch over to his control, right, you can see that I can actually move him using my analog stick. But here, when I push the analog stick, he seems to stop every now and then. He doesn't really like doing that. Now, he is actually using the hybrid locomotion system. Oh, I don't like having the device sit on my nose. I need to reposition my Oculus again. It's sitting on my nose and I cannot stand it. It's really frustrating. But yeah, he does use the locomotion system, which means if I hop around like this, he does actually run. And he doesn't have a run animation, of course, because, you know, I'm lazy. Right? So there we go. We'll get him to move. Oh my god, it's just leaning on my nose. All headsets right now are designed in a terrible way. They actually get less comfortable every iteration. Every time there's a newer device, it's less comfortable. I don't know why, it just is, right? And they all seem to lean more and more on the face parts here, on the cheeks. Which of course you can't see because this character model doesn't have cheeks. But yeah, it sort of leans more on the cheeks more and more and more. I'm still using my CV1. It's the most comfortable headset in existence, and it is very, very out of date. But there we go. We'll pop over here and we'll do some testing with Mr. NPC. But for now, we're gonna need to get some way to move him a little bit quicker, right? So we'll need this. Oh, we still have those actually. we can always just pull him along, and we can always just shoot some things on his head. But for now, what we want is this bat. Ooh, I feel like I'm a little bit stronger than I should be. Am I using strength mode? Oh, I am. Didn't even notice. Oh well. Right. Let's get this all out. And we'll get you to pop over here. Off you go, off you go. Come on, follow me, follow me. And yeah, you can see he does have some physicality to him, and he does have trouble getting up as well. So here we go, we can actually grab his hand and pull him along. Oop, camera, get over here. We can pull him along, and there you go. Now, of course, if I grab the grabber things, we'll be able to see how he kind of detects the ground a little bit. It's not the best, but he's still got a lot of work to do. For now, he just sort of has a strength value and a trauma value, which is, it's not his actual strength. It's sort of his confusion value. And then, of course, he has health as well. So he's got plenty of values that determine whether or not he can balance. And one of the best ones is just complete hit in the head. I love doing that. Messing around with Ragdolls is a little bit too fun. But there we go. If we grab our grabbers, because I don't have grab points on him yet, I'm going to work on that. And then we can see that he doesn't really like being lifted off the ground. Woo! He doesn't like it. Right, so there we go. And then we can, of course, woo, throw him and he gets up again, right? But unless we smash him into a wall. Yark! And then he doesn't really get up so quickly. He tries. I love messing around with it. This is ridiculous, right? Need to stop beating up Ragdolls. This bullet actually does do a little bit of damage to a character, but it's not. It doesn't do enough damage to drop him. However, the gun does count as metal as well, so it does quite a lot of damage when you hit it. It actually does more damage than the bullets do. But there we go. Anyways, not much to show you other than that. It's just been a lot of random stuff for me to mess around with. And there we go, really. So yeah, I've got a video coming up which is talking, which is more of a how it works video, going more in depth into the Hitman VR experience, because I said I wanted to do a proper development video on that, right? I wanted to do a proper video describing what I would do to improve that game from what it currently is, with respect to the fact that it isn't designed as a VR game, which is why Tubby's in this build. I'll be using him as a little character controller, which I can show how to relate your character controller into your VR systems, and we'll be seeing some additional functionality which does that. Again, that's why I use Project TX as a virtual world for that corresponds to the real world, even though I'm talking about a game which is actually not the real world, right? So lots of random stuff to go, but there we go. Also, another thing is really cool. Sonic.exe, imagine now, like I said, I kind of treat this as a real world now just for the sake of videos, because it's much easier to showcase things like me swinging around like so in a virtual world rather than breaking my legs in reality, right? But other than that, you know, I kind of use this as a real world to showcase things. And that kind of highlights how amazing it would be if we started doing a little bit of horror experiences using this kind of tech. But yeah, Project TX is just the very basics set of things that I kind of want to do looking forward into the future of VR. And yeah, I'm sure you can imagine how much fun we can have when your real world is virtual and can be modified and messed around with. But there we go. Let's pop back into here, and we'll leave you on the podium. We'll leave you on the podium. There we go, and then whoop, switch on the lights and say goodbye. That's the end of this video, unfortunately. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. It's been a bit of a random video, a little bit all over the place. But yeah, so there's a little bit more to come in terms of functionality and random stuff going on in this very spooky, empty world, including those portals. We'll see where they lead in the next set of videos coming soon. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video where I talk about I don't know what, because I don't know the future. Goodbye. Goodbye.